Hey everybody, Joe Casabona here, and one of the hardest things to do, especially when you've been podcasting for a while, is coming up with ideas, especially easy to execute ideas for those weeks when you're just not feeling it. Well, today I'm going to give you 5 easy episode ideas for your podcast. But before we do that, I do need to ask you to subscribe to this channel. It will help grow the number of subscribers. When I get to 100, I'll be able to get that sweet custom domain name, but it will also let you know when I put out new content. Lately, I've been doing 2 episodes a week. I'm going to do at least one video a week on this channel. So be sure to subscribe. If you really like what I'm doing, you can become part of my membership over at the Build Something Club. That's buildsomething.club. On top of behind the scenes videos, like in my last video, I basically recorded a whole episode off the cuff. So you can see that part of the video, but you also get live stream archive access because live stream archives are only available to my members. And you can get ad-free extended episodes of my podcast, How I Built It, a day early. So if you're looking to grow and monetize your podcast, you can see how I'm growing and monetizing my podcast firsthand. Okay, that is it for the promos. Let's get to the 5 episode ideas. Now, I should say right off the bat that there are a lot more, but what we're going for here are ideas that you can easily execute. You want to have a few in your back pocket for maybe weeks where guests fall through and you don't have one ready to go, or you just want to have a few in the tank for like the end of the year when finding guests is hard or coming up with a topic is hard. So with that, let's go to the first idea, which is tell a story. This could be a story from your childhood. It could be a story from your business or your work life. Heck, it could be a one of your favorite fiction or nonfiction stories and how it relates to something you're talking about. So if I were to tell a story for my Make Money podcasting episode, I might tell the story of the first time I realized that people were just willing to support my work as somebody in the community. And I would talk about how I was looking for sponsors because I had just gone out on my own and I needed some income to float me through the end of the year. And I approached a couple of companies in the WordPress space and they were more than willing to support my work. So I might tell that story. Or I might talk about, one of my favorite podcasts, Stuff You Should Know, and how their first episodes were 6-minute long article reads, and they just put them out as a podcast. And that is a great way to just start publishing. So whatever you choose, pick a story. This is a story that you can tell off the cuff. So you don't need to do a lot of prep work. Maybe you want to do an outline where you have your talking points and then you just talk into the mic for 10, 15 minutes. Number 2 is your favorite apps or services. This is one of my favorites because everybody loves a good app or service recommendation. A lot of people get shiny object syndrome and they're looking for new tools and they're excited to try new things. So you can pick 3 to 5 apps or services that you've liked and talk about how you've helped them. You can have links in your show notes. Maybe they're affiliate links, maybe not. But again, this is another piece of easy content. Pick 5 apps or services that you use every day and how you use them, because that'll give your listeners ideas, and then link them in the show notes. So you have that strong call to action too. Number 3, your take on a Twitter thread. One of the great things about Twitter threads is everybody can have an opinion on them. So you read a Twitter thread, maybe you favorite it or bookmark it. You read through their tweets, the person's tweets, and then you give your take on it for the podcast. So this is just simply kind of a call and response type of episode. And it should, of course, be a topic related to your show. So I know people who have talked about how, monetizing your different ways to monetize your podcast, or why you should hire an editor. I can grab those tweet threads and give my response on my Make Money Podcasting podcast. Another thing that you can do related to this is your own Twitter threads, where you just kind of read your tweet threads and add context, right? Because it's only 280 characters that you have, but firing off a Twitter thread is a lot easier than sitting down and recording a podcast and thinking about your thoughts. But when you do that, now you have reusable content. I've taken Twitter threads and I've made them into podcast episodes, YouTube videos, and blog posts. So if you're struggling to come up with new thoughts or new ideas for a podcast episode, Twitter threads are new thoughts or really old thoughts that you're remixing. You don't need to rehab those thoughts. You just can read them on the air and add some context to them. And finally, behind the scenes content. People love to see how the sausage is made. So you give them a process for how you put together a recent popular episode or how you launched this new client project. Because again, people are looking for ideas. 75% of people listen to podcasts to learn something new. And if they see how you're executing on your podcast, YouTube channel, client projects, it gives them ideas for how to execute on their podcast, YouTube channel, client projects. And again, this is something that maybe you do a quick outline, but it's in your brain. You know how you're doing it and you can talk about it. So there you go. 5 great ideas for easy episode content. Tell a story, give your take on a Twitter thread, list your own Twitter thread, app or service recommendations, and give behind the scenes content. A couple of things that have worked for me: gift guides. I update gift guides every year. And so one of my episodes is just simply changes to the gift guides. I have 3, so that can give me 3 podcast episodes, or I can combine them all into one. My favorite apps for X, like I've talked about, my favorite apps for podcasting, my favorite apps for writing, or reading, more or less reading blog posts that I've written and that are relevant to the show. Again, this is content I've already created. And so I can just take it and repurpose it for the podcast. Now, one thing that's really important here: done is better than perfect. You've probably heard that a lot because all consistent creators say that. There are some days where you're not going to want to put the effort in. I understand that. I've been there constantly. That's why batching is so important, but that's why having these easy episodes in your back pocket is also important. So there you go. Done is better than perfect. 5+ episode ideas. If you want to get even more, you can head over to podcastliftoff.com/content. You can get a free PDF with 52+ content ideas. That's 1 per week. So you can have a whole year's worth of content or ideas for content ready to go. Thanks so much for watching. If you liked this video, be sure to hit the thumbs up button down below, subscribe to this channel for more great content, and tell me in the comments below, what's one piece of content you're really proud of? Thanks so much for watching, and until next time, get out there and build something.